Alright, Grandma, we're making a video for you about how to put cooked chicken in the crock pot.
Okay, so what we're doing, so we get a picture of this. This going in. We're putting some onions down on the bottom of the crock pot because anytime I cook meat in the crock pot, I like to put something under the meat so that the meat protein doesn't stick to the bottom. So sometimes I do that. And since it's chicken, I'm going to add a stalk of celery, which we're going to wash up real quick here. Maybe, stalk of celery. Let me just wash this. And we're not going to eat this celery and onions. It's just going to flavor it. Because afterwards, the broth, I'm probably going to either make a gravy with or add a little canned broth to it and make a little chicken soup with it or just whatever. Okay, so we have those things are in there for flavor. And then we're going to put some baby carrots in there for vegetable. So if you wanted to, you could put potatoes. We don't eat a lot of potatoes because it's too starchy and stuff for us. So we're going to put our vegetables down here. Now, if you want to do other vegetables that are not root vegetables like green beans or broccoli or little frozen peas and carrots, first of all, anything frozen is already cooked. So you really don't want to cook it in the crock pot with everything else from the beginning because it'll turn to mush. So you just add it in the last half hour. Or you just add it at the end and cook it for another half hour. All right, the dogs love carrots. So here here, Coco, Thunder. Okay. But root vegetables can go in the crock pot from the beginning. So turnips, carrots, potatoes, sweet potatoes. Oh, and if you want to cook cabbage in the crock pot, same thing, last hour or so, but you put the cabbage on top of your meat. So any root vegetables go under your meat. The frozen kind that you don't want to overcook or cabbage goes on top of your meat. Okay, so we have that in there. We're going to add a little parsley. It looks sad, but it's actually just dehydrated, but we're just again adding this for flavor. All right, if I wasn't out of bay leaves, I would add a couple of bay leaves to that, but I am out of bay leaves, so I'm not going to. But I am going to get out my seasonings. And Mom, you don't have to have all of these seasonings. You can just use Morton's Morton's seasoned salt. Any sort of poultry seasoning would be good if you have it, but if you don't have it, so totally don't worry about it. Just put in whatever seasonings works for you. This is just the average for me. So I already have parsley in there, so I'm not going to put that in there. I have real sage from the garden from a couple of years ago, so I'm just going to put these in the bottom here. They're just dried sage leaves. You probably don't have these, so just don't worry about it. Just put in a couple of bay leaves if you have it, and if you don't worry about it. Okay, we're going to do that. Then we're going to add our chicken. So I have about a 3-pound package of skinless, boneless chicken breasts. You can use skinless, boneless chicken thighs too. The thighs cook faster because they're smaller. So 3 pounds will feed us for about 3 meals because that's about 1 pound is 1/3 of a pound each, which cooks down to about 1/4 of a pound each, which is 4 ounces, which is 20 grams of protein, which is in the range of the recommended average of protein. So 3 pounds will give us 3 meals. We'll do today's lunch for everybody of salad topped with chicken. We'll do the same thing for lunch with everyone tomorrow. and we'll do another meal of chicken on top of some sort of vegetables, either broccoli or zucchini and mushrooms, or if Zoe's lucky, I'll turn it into like chicken with gravy with some peas and carrots sort of thing, or on top of broccoli and the gravy. Okay, which I'll make from the juices that come out of this. Okay, so a lot of recipes will tell you to now mix your liquid and your seasonings together. But a lot of time I'm too much in a rush to do that, so I don't. So here's the trick. You put your seasonings on first.
What seasoning are you using right now?
Oh, I use on everything onion powder and garlic powder. I use the powder because the salt has too much salt in it for me. So onion powder and garlic powder. I'm going to do some salt and pepper separately. And again, Morton's All Seasonings has all that stuff in it. I really like paprika on stuff. So we're adding paprika. And I'm adding a poultry seasoning. As if there's not enough poultry seasoning in there. Okay, so the trick here is the reason why we put that on first is because when we go, okay, any seasonings that you put on top, dry seasonings like that you put on top of the meat in the crock pot, isn't going to season anything except for the top. So you have to get that seasoning into the bottom. So that's why you put the seasonings on first and then you put your liquid on. So a lot of times when I make chicken, I'll add orange juice. So you put the liquid over it and it will blend the seasonings. It'll move the seasonings down into the liquid. So that's about a cup of orange juice. I just sort of eyeball it and it comes up the sides of the carrots a little bit. The chicken and any meat is going to release its juices, so you're going to end up with a lot more juices than what you put in. Now, you don't have to worry about the acid in the orange juice because the acid is not going to get into the food, and it's barely, after being cooked for so long, going to have any acid left in the broth. So don't worry about it. If you don't have orange juice, use lemon juice, which I use out of a bottle. But it gives it flavor and it makes the meat more tender because it's an acid. But I'm also going to add just regular water to this because I want more liquid in here. You want about an inch up the sides of liquid. So that's about another 1 to 2 cups of liquid, depending on how much vegetables you put down the bottom there. So here, come show her the pot. That's a really good, really on the a lot side of liquid, because by the time this all releases its juices, the liquid's going to be over the chicken. And generally, unless you're making chicken soup, you really don't want to be boiling the chicken in the crock pot. Okay, so that's everything I'm going to do. I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to set this for high for 6 hours because it is so thick because they are chicken breasts. But it'll probably be done in 4 hours. You can check it. So what I'm going to do is I will keep the leftovers in the juice to keep it moist. And I may also use the juice, like I said, for either chicken soup or gravy. And what I will also do is skim the fat off of the chicken juice stock broth that's left over, and I'll put the fat in a separate bowl, and I'll use that to scramble my eggs in or cook other things in on the stove. What was else I was going to say? And you might not have enough broth to make like a soup or something like that, so you can always just add canned soup. But this will taste really good. Okay, love you. Bye.